Adolescence is one of Netflix's latest releases, and it's quickly become one of the most talked about shows right now. It skyrocketed to the top of the Netflix charts, sparking major discussions around its themes: incel culture, toxic masculinity, and the devastating impact of having a murderer in the family. But beyond its subject matter, there's been a lot of talk about how this show was crafted. Out of the 4 episodes, one stood out to me above the rest. Episode 3. This installment was stripped down to just 4 characters, placing the focus entirely on building a psychological profile for pre-sentencing. From phenomenal performances to an incredible use of sound and an ending that left me utterly drained, this episode was nothing short of perfection. Why Adolescence? Episode 3 is a masterpiece. Just a heads up, this video will contain spoilers. Aeon Do's captivating performance. Bryony was at the heart of this episode, and Aeon Do's performance was simply outstanding. Having just finished 1,000 Blows, I half expected her to have that East End grit in her voice. Instead, she spoke with a posh, polished accent, immediately signaling that we were about to witness something special. Like Owen Cooper, Aeon Do took her character through a whirlwind of emotions. But it was only in the final moments that we saw the cracks in her facade. The weight of everything she had endured, just sitting across from Jamie, the boy who had taken a life, finally broke her down. That moment of release, that final exhale, was pure cinematic brilliance. At the beginning of the episode, Bryony was warm, friendly, and made an effort to put Jamie at ease, joking about bread slices, getting him his hot chocolate with marshmallows. But by the end, after being intimidated not once but twice, her demeanor completely shifted. She became closed off, unflinching, using silence as her strongest weapon. And ultimately, that approach worked. She got exactly what she needed: a profile of Jamie. What made Do's performance so gripping was the balance she struck between control and vulnerability. Despite her composure, there was an underlying tension, an unspoken fear, because she knew she was sitting across from someone who could snap at any moment. And we as the audience felt that too. We knew almost nothing about Bryony beyond her profession. Yet, through Do's performance, we felt her. The disgust in her eyes, the single tear rolling down her cheek at the end, it all spoke volumes about the emotional toll this case had taken on her. One of the most chilling moments was when Jamie revealed what he could have done to Kate. The room went completely silent. All we could hear was Bryony's breathing, her heartbeat. She didn't react outwardly, but her stillness said everything. That moment alone cemented Do's performance as one of the best in the series. Owen Cooper's haunting portrayal of Jamie. For a first-ever acting role, Owen Cooper's performance was nothing short of extraordinary. At the start of the episode, he was just a kid, excited over a cup of hot chocolate, playful in his demeanor. But by the end, we saw something truly terrifying. A boy capable of unimaginable evil. The way he switched between innocence and malice in an instant was deeply unsettling. Think about it. One moment, he's a 13-year-old thrilled about his drink. The next, he's someone who would stab you 7 times if things didn't go his way. His facial expressions, his tone, his body language, all of it would shift in a heartbeat. If someone said something he didn't like, you'd see it immediately. A change in his eyes, a slight smirk, a quiet but unnerving stillness. That's when we knew this wasn't just a kid anymore. One of the most disturbing lines in the episode was, "Did I scare you when I shouted? I'm only 13, that's embarrassing." That single line summed up Jamie's entire character: manipulative, calculated, and utterly devoid of empathy. Another chilling moment was when he lost his temper, smashing his hot chocolate across the table. Instead of owning his actions, he immediately twisted the situation, putting words in Bryony's mouth, turning himself into the victim. It was an unsettling display of psychological manipulation. Even in the final moments when Jamie was being led away, there was a strange sense of attachment. He wanted Bryony's approval, her validation. But when he realized she didn't like him, that she was only doing her job, it shattered him. That quiet devastation in his expression was haunting. From wide-eyed innocence to cold-blooded evil, Owen Cooper's performance was nothing short of brilliant. Sound and lighting, While the performances stole the show, the use of sound and lighting played an equally vital role in making this episode as immersive as it was. The single-take shot moved around the table like an interrogation, circling, closing in, heightening the tension. But beyond that, the subtle shifts in sound and lighting added layers of depth to each moment. For instance, when Jamie spoke about his father taking him to football but feeling ashamed of him, the background noise disappeared. The lighting dimmed. Suddenly, we were inside Jamie's mind, stepping into his darkness. The same thing happened when he described what he could have done to Kate. This time, though, the focus was on Bryony. Her breathing became louder, her heartbeat echoed in our ears. She couldn't show fear, but we felt it. Another clever use of sound was the static, the heavy rain, and the wind noises that subtly built up whenever Jamie grew agitated. It was an invisible tension builder, making us anticipate his next outburst. These small details might go unnoticed, but they played a massive role in shaping the episode's psychological intensity. What made this episode even more fascinating was its intent. The showrunners made it clear that Adolescence wasn't about telling a simple murder-to-conviction story. It was about the ripple effects, the way a crime impacts everyone involved. This episode zeroed in on that concept, following a psychologist as she attempted to understand Jamie's mind. Did he comprehend what he had done? Did he grasp the permanence of death? Could he even process the consequences? Jamie's psychological unraveling was brilliantly written. He started with a false sense of control, but by the end, he had let too much slip. His own words condemned him. Even his body language told a story. For most of the session, he kept his arms in front of him, closed off, guarded. But the moment he slipped up, something changed. His posture shifted. He became more open, more comfortable in his own monstrosity. It was a chilling but fascinating look into the mind of a child killer. There were many standout episodes in Adolescence, but Episode 3 was in a league of its own. It was intimate, psychologically rich, and deeply disturbing in the best way possible. This episode lingered, it left a mark, and that's why it was perfect. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.